So now that I'm 29 and jobless, I think it's safe to say that I'm going to be on here a lot more than what I have been recently, which is kind of a good thing because I've been wanting to get more active on this app anyway. So today I'm just going to pretty much complain about things because everything's expensive, specifically food. And I was going through a Reddit thread that I'm going to get to in a moment here and just sort of highlight some things. And one of the reasons that I kind of came to the conclusion or came up with this idea, other than the fact that I'm jobless now, is so there's a cereal that it's my favorite cereal. No one ever knows about it, and it's called Honey Graham O's. I'm sure some of you know about it, but usually when I bring this bowl of, or this cereal up in conversation with, I don't know, your common folk, they always say, "Oh, you mean Cheerios?" I'm like, no, I'm not talking about Cheerios. I'm talking about Honey Graham O's, the GOAT cereal of all cereals, in my opinion. It used to be $2. It is now $5. I think this is crazy, especially since the cereal box is extremely tiny. It's not a big box at all. I mean, it's literally, you could eat the whole box in 2 bowls of cereal. So it's extremely small, and there's no way it should be $5. Anywho, so I was on the internet, I was doing my comment surfing things that I do, and I came across this Reddit thread that was pretty much highlighting and talking about how things have gotten so expensive, how groceries have gotten so expensive. People were showing what they'd buy back in like 2022, and they're looking at the prices of the same items that they've bought back then, and they're just exponentially high. So this is kind of one of them right here. This guy said the prices on items I buy increased by 75% from 2022 to 2024. And we are going to sort of just take a look at this. So this person put the price of their whole honey wheat bread back in 2022, and it was $1.98. In 2024, it is $3.84. Now that's pretty absurd to me. They put their great value, what is it called? The great value chicken thighs, the frozen. 2022 was $4.86. 2024, it's $8.76. That's pretty absurd if you ask me. I'm speechless. Moving forward, we're going to do a few more of these just to sort of paint the picture here, because that's what I want to do. I want to paint the picture. I want to be an artist. Great value yogurt, 2022, $3.62. 2024, $5.33. Great value zesty Italian dressing, 2022, 92 cents. Oh, that's interesting. 2024, $1.97. I think it's safe to say that we're all pretty much getting effed, and it's not cool, especially if we don't make the most money. When you look at these things, you almost kind of like, you know the saying where like the rich get richer and the poor just stay poor. And honestly, when you see the way things are kind of set up, it's almost like, how can I put this? Like I remember back in like this must have been 2020. I got my car towed in LA because I parked it. I'm pretty sure everyone who lives in LA has experienced this once or twice. Anyways, I got my car towed because it was in a parking spot that it shouldn't have been at past a certain time. Anyways, so they charge you by the day, right? It's like it could be $75 a day. They charge you by the day to whenever you can get the vehicle. And then if you don't get the vehicle, they end up auctioning it off. And this happens extremely, extremely quick. Mind you, the money adds up extremely quick. And the only reason I was able to have the money at the time was because, I mean, I was getting money like every 2 weeks because they were paying us. I forget how I was getting it, but I was just thinking to myself, like, wow, they don't make it easy. Like, if you're poor and the amount of fines and things that they put on poor people is ridiculous. They almost make it harder. Like, if you're behind on a payment or something, they charge you for being behind on the payment. So it just makes the issue even worse. And it's like, how do they expect people to even get out of this situation? Meanwhile, if you're rich, life becomes easier, right? It's things are easier. So it's just like really interesting to sort of see things from that perspective. Anywho, but I'm gonna go through some more of these comments. It's just food for thought. Somebody says, have Walmart Plus and recorded the exact same groceries as last week. It was $22 higher this week with the same items. And that's sort of a kind of like a theme I've been seeing from a lot of other people, is what they're doing, is they're noticing that they're buying the same items but they're more expensive now than what they were a couple years back. Will things ever get better? Will the cost of groceries, our living in general, ever get lower? I don't think so. Things are only getting more expensive. The other day I was talking to my mom, and what did she say? She was talking about how much she got paid, like how much a full-time employee got paid back then from working at like a grocery store. And it was something, I forget, it was between, I forget what she said, but the cost of living was way cheaper back then. I was like, there's no way you could survive with getting paid those wages today. You're just not. Like some of these jobs, I don't even see, I've seen on Indeed jobs that are paying $16. What are you going to do with $16? What are you going to do with $16? It's crazy out there. Somebody says, I buy eggs 2 times a month at Pavilions. I'm not sure what Pavilions is. I don't think we have that out here. So it was $16.99 for 5 dozen last month, and now it's $21.99. That's a huge jump in price. Somebody says Kroger is the worst. Hamburger meat is $7 a pound, and not the ones in my area. That's almost double from 2022. Unfortunately, things are going to get worse from here. I feel like it's going to get to a point to where you literally have to be rich. If you're not rich, then we're just not going to be able to live. Like imagine, so if you're older and you're watching this video, think about how expensive things were when you were a teenager or when you were a young person versus now. Now for the people of this, the younger people of this generation, I guess I would say, is like, imagine how more expensive things are going to be when you're older, right? For like, I'm 29. Like, I can imagine just how much more things are going to be when I'm like in my 50s or 60s. If I'm blessed enough to get that far, which I'm hoping I am. Imagine that. Like, I seen that like minimum wage, or at least I seen like, I drove by a Subway recently and they were making $20 an hour. I feel like years down the line, it might have to be like $25 an hour. And that might sound like that's a lot better, but the cost of living is going to be so high, it almost kind of levels out. So it doesn't even really matter. It's just going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. Anywho, this is my little rant. I'm just going to be posting videos daily now because I'm jobless and I like to create things. So this is me and this is where I'm at. If you want to join in on this conversation, comment down below. We can talk about it. I mean, things are expensive. It's crazy. Cereal, my favorite cereal is $5 and it's only 2 bowls. That is absurd to me. What is going on? Biden, bye. Later, you guys.